You wanted a Deadlock patch? Well, you've got a Deadlock patch. A major one at that. A complete map rework. Deadlock is now a 3-lane game. No longer 4 lanes, no longer solo lanes. It's all about the age of the duo. So let's get into patch notice. I'm your host, Jackie. I'm going to be taking you through all the changes as they come in. This has just gone out on the forums, so let's have a look at what I've dissected from the patch notes. New models, first and foremost, as you can see in this before and after comparison, Sinclair has been given his magic wand. And with a bit of magic, we can summon the new high poly finished Abrams model. Fans of Dead Air, of course, will remember that a while back, couple months now, I was able to find in the game files that Valve were working on a new model for Abrams. Well, it looks like they finished that work and now feel comfortable showing it to the public. It's out in the open and he looks gorgeous. He's buffer, broader, and he's even got a tail swinging around on the back of his model. The book has now been changed to his hand as well. His gun looks so much cooler. All in all, this is a fantastic change, and I love the way new Abrams looks with those menacing red eyes. But let's set our attention on something else visual, the map. This isn't just visual changes, although there's many that we'll be showing off, it's also huge gameplay overhauls. I'm showing you a before and after comparison here. You can see just how different the map looks. Of course, they've had to completely change how the middle area now works, changing it from 2 lanes with that big mid museum that contained mid-boss into one larger blue lane. So to accommodate this updated, revamped middle area, you've had to tweak the outer edges, which means adaptations to how jungle works, to how you rotate, and to even where mid-boss itself is located. Because of course where I'm standing right now is 7 would be the mid-temple. Instead, it's this very innovative blue lane that feels, to me from the quick gameplay I've had on it, inspired by Caldera Trooper. Of course, if you've seen that video of mine that went through the old transitional map from Neon Prime into Deadlock, there was so much verticality, so many interesting areas to slide, dip, dive, go out of cover, whip back into lane, and it seems like Valve have taken a lot of that inspiration and brought it to the table here. Alongside that, they've done an art pass on some of the older existing prefabs. The Baroness, for example, is no longer green, it's now blue. There's also a global power-up spawn sound that will play and everyone will be auditorily aware of power-ups spawning. This is also their new spawn locations, that's right, up high. Verticality is key in this patch, it seems, and the gun buff has been tweaked slightly as well. Seems like that's the only one they've touched out of all of the buffs, but be wary because it's in a new location, and here's how to get there. 2 quick easy access points for this one. You can either climb up the ropes that were located in what was previously the tier 1 jungle camp spawns, of course on the inner lanes that would have been green, no longer anymore of course, it's just one big blue lane. So you can also use this bounce pad that will launch you over, really fun, really cool. But that's enough about what's up top, let's talk about what's below. Mid-boss has been overhauled. It's been moved, it's been given more HP growth, and a completely different arena. Movement on this seems to be key, right? Have a look at this. I've sort of tried to show off as best I could what I found from running around checking this out. You've got multiple ramps to slide down, one on either side, quick access points for getting in and out in terms of ropes, and even what seems to be glass windows that have been placed there to give you crystal vision when it comes to information about if someone is going for mid-boss or if mid-boss has spawned. But hey, you want to know if mid-boss has spawned? Then look to the skies, my friends. Mid-boss now has an in-game indicator. This is so cool. So when it gets close to mid-boss spawning, about a minute I think from testing, you're going to see this rejuvenator icon descend. On the initial spawn, this will just appear. And when this is like this, you know that mid-boss is alive. It feels like Valve are trying to combat any sort of external need for timing programs, stopwatches, or just trying to remember when things spawn in. The game's just going to tell you now. Jungle camp's coming up, it's going to say. Power-up's coming up, it's going to say. Rejuvenate is about to spawn in, hell, you need to know, and the game is going to tell you. So I love this. Seems like Valve are really trying to focus on fun rather than the overall competitive nature of the game. They're trying to make it really enjoyable for every skill level. Jungle camps though, these have been tweaked quite a lot inside of this patch, so let's get into it and see what they've done. They've actually made it more feel like it's a jungle area in a game like Dota or League of Legends perhaps. You know, you've got these sort of condensed jungle areas with all of the camps grouped up together, so you want to send in potentially even the players on the outer lanes to clear these jungle camps as quickly as possible, as regularly as possible. You want like junglers now in Deadlock, because look at the density. They spawn more commonly, they respawn quicker, there's more of them for a start, and they're also close together, so you can run in, mash everything up, grab all those souls, and make out like a bandit. This is going to be so fun, and this is the spawn sound I was talking about. You're going to be able to hear that audio cue, know that the jungle camps have spawned in. There's one for each category. So cool. Moving on though, this is even better. Valve have outdone themselves with this patch. I absolutely love this. New music for the Sinner's Sacrifice, and that isn't all. You can now get a jackpot on the Sinner's Sacrifice. Oh, I love this. I hated Sinner's Sacrifices before, to be honest with you. I didn't really use them. I felt like they were slow and arbitrary, but now look how they work. The lights will indicate every time you hit it that it's losing HP. You can still use your heavy melee and light melee respectively to reduce the HP by either 1 or 2 ticks with each punch, but it's what happens when it gets to the end that's most important. As you can see, this light is going to go all the way to the right hand side. You want to time that heavy melee just as the second to last light lights up. If you then get that off, that's going to grant you 3 golden statue buffs. That's absolute insanity. Only a light melee on the final bulb when lit up will give you a single golden buff. Super cool though, they've added a rhythm mechanic, I love that. Let's talk about the spawn timings though for jungle overall. 2 minutes, same old, you're gonna get that tier 1 camp spawning in. 3 minutes, that's gonna be boxes and the golden statues. Then going into 5 minutes, we're getting the new tier 2 camps that are gonna be spawning. Of course, following on from that, you've got 8 minutes where tier 3 camps and the brand new Sinner's Sacrifices will populate the map. At 10 minutes, we get midboss coming online and mid-breakables. You might be thinking, what on earth am I on about? Mid-breakables? I believe that's these. Mid-boxes. Okay, incredible density of these. It seems like there is an abundance of boxes beneath mid, so I can see why they've offset this to 10 minutes rather than, of course, the regular spawn time for breakables, as you would be fed to the nines. And they've even tweaked the underground connections in the map as well. So it's not just mid that's been given this underground element, it's even the bodega, the theater, having underground access points from what previously were kind of trap closets that you'd go into with these jungle camps. You'd be stuck there and have nowhere to go. Instead, in this patch, you have multiple routes in or out. The underground feels way more fleshed out. I am a big fan of this. I think this is an amazing adjustment to gameplay that will let you juke opponents, make in, make out, and have some real fun with it. Flex slots, though, have been updated as well, so let's get into that. Of course, changes to the lanes means changes to the flex slots. We're down from 3 guardians to just 2 to get your initial flex slot. Then we move on and reduce that need for only 1 walker instead of 2 of them, as there just is less walkers on the map now. Your third flex slot is going to be unchanged, so that means destroying 3 walkers on the map. And lastly, that's going to be your final flex slot, which will be granted to you when destroying a single set of base guardians and 1 of the 2 shrines. So a couple adjustments there. Nothing too crazy though, you'll get used to that pretty quickly. But the walkers themselves have been given more HP. Mid lane is up to 9,000, not over 9,000 unfortunately. Outer lane is also going to be going up to 7,000. So tankier walkers and new tanky sounds. The hit markers have been updated. Have a listen. I absolutely love the new sound direction, and it doesn't stop there, by the way. Check out the old gun sound compared to the new gun sounds. Oh, it's so good. The sound effect team over at Valve have absolutely blown this patch out of the water. Visual feedback, audio feedback, gameplay, everything is here. It's what we really wanted from a Deadlock patch. Okay, zip lines as well have been tweaked, guys. So outer lane speed is going to be up by 15%. That is actually going to mean that they balance out. It's going to be the same overall travel time across all 3 lanes now. So that's base to lane in about 14 seconds off the rough timings I've done on this. And then with zipline boost, that's going to be base to lane at about 9 seconds. But it doesn't matter where you're going. If you're rotating rotating, obviously out into the mid-blue lane. If you're going to one of the side lanes, you're going to arrive at the exact same time for all of these. And you're going to arrive quicker when it comes to sprinting as well. Globally, sprint is going to be a little bit quicker now. It feels snappier. It feels more enjoyable navigating around the map, and they've even changed how the tagging system works. So you're not going to be stunned for anywhere near as long and forced to walk when getting tagged by enemies. Of course, this is still going to work in the same way where if you're shot by an enemy as an actual hero, it's going to slow you down, but for nowhere near as long. And creeps, it's going to be even further reduced. So you're recovering that sprint way quicker in this version of Deadlock. Should make for a really enjoyable game. Let's have a look though at what they've done to soul allocation and soul split, as there's a lot of changes here. So let's break this down. So firstly, of course, they've adjusted effectively when the laning phase is going to end in terms of the scaling due to the reduction of lanes. That's an increase on the soul bounty at 33%. Same overall economy as we had previously with 4 lanes now post 8 minutes. But more importantly, it's about how souls are going to auto secure. You no longer actually need to get the last hit on a creep at all. As long as you're within the radius of actually receiving the souls, they're going to pay out souls and spawn in a soul orb. This is going to be super interesting to see how this feels. On top of that, denies are now a 50-50 as well, so they're worth going for denies a whole lot more than previously. Breakables also had a slight reduction, it seems, in terms of their actual soul count. But honestly, that's not too surprising when you factor in the sheer abundance now of jungle camps, the way you're going to auto-secure souls, how much more competitive denies are, and of course just the sheer density of breakables on this version of Deadlock. They're all over the place, on the roofs, on the ground, absolutely everywhere. So get back into the habit of box maxing, people. Let's have a look at the next overhaul on the list. That is going to be juke closets. Feels like juke closets are absolutely everywhere in this version of Deadlock. There is so many of them, and I love it. It's opened up interiors that previously were closed off, giving you an actual feeling like this is a city. There's shops, there's different things going on, but they've added a veil to all of them as well, so you can actually juke people rather than them just seeing you run in and going, well, he's in there. They've also had to overhaul the location of the secret shop, so let's drop on down with Lash and see where they've gone. Here you can see that they're now going to be located in the new adjusted areas for the teleporter spawns. Yeah, I mean, again, this one kind of makes sense. It's got to go somewhere, right? So that's just where they've put it. We'll see how that feels once we've all gotten a chance to play on this new patch. But bounce pads also feel to be a key point. I found this just kind of playing around. It seems like Valve obviously want you to be able to get that quick access up to the new bridges. So you can just sort of bounce off of these areas, off the wall, off the plant pot next to it. But yeah, bounce pads everywhere. Use these bad boys to rotate. It looks like they want you to use them to get in lane, out a lane, into the jungle, or hell, even back into your base. And the base itself is going to be the next item on the docket, as this has been tweaked as well. Overhauls on overhauls. The railings, as you can see visually, have not only been slimmed down, but I'm pretty sure you can actually just shoot through all of these now. It feels really convenient, just testing this out on a bot game or two, and I was getting all of my footage for this as quickly as I could. It feels really good. It seems kind of responsive, and I like the idea they're going with here, making the base feel more breathable, more open, giving you more vision with these windows that have been installed as well. So shout out to the New York construction team that worked hard overnight to get all of this up to code, as it looks absolutely beautiful. But yeah, base changes, again, these are good adjustments. These are fun adjustments. It just feels like everything in this patch is kind of a layer of polish that we've been waiting for and didn't even realize we wanted with how good it feels. Visuals is going to be next though, and there's a big one. The yellow orb is gone. The eclipse is back. We finally did it, everyone. We've been stuck with this yellow orb in the sky for so long, but Valve gave us back the eclipse. Oh, it's beautiful to see. You talk about beautiful as well. Let's have a look at all the new art assets. This is only a handful of them, by the way. I haven't had actually time to fully delve into every element of this map, but it looks amazing. So many new things, giving you lore, giving you references to not only the time period, not only the characters, but all of the different brands, different things that are inside the Deadlock universe. An art pass that is feeding that Deadlock obsession that I have. Oh man, I absolutely love it. Right, what are you waiting for? That's enough for the video. Get out there, get playing the biggest patch for Deadlock we've ever had, and you're living in the time to enjoy it. Tune into the Dead Air podcast, new episode coming out soon. Myself and Blank are going to record one tonight, as we've got a lot to say. We're excited for this patch. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, Jackie. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time, New York.